You know, it's pretty amazing to me that the Republicans have had almost 7 years to repeal Obamacare, and that now that they actually have a president that's in charge who will sign a bill repealing it, they demand some type of compromise legislation with the Democrats that keeps much of the old-fashioned Obamacare in place. But then you notice not one Democrat voted for it, making sure it couldn't pass, because they want the old Obamacare in place. So here's the big question. How in the hell is Donald Trump to blame for Obamacare? Because that's the headlines everywhere. It's now it's his fault. No. What he did do was compromise with Paul Ryan and others that told him how the Congress worked. And now he's angered a lot of his core libertarian constituents. Senator Rand Paul, who joined me a week and a half ago to break down where he thought this was going, has been absolutely vindicated in all of this. But that said, you can't blame Trump for Obamacare. That's mental illness. But what's even more mentally ill is Democrats that want to keep Obamacare in place when it's massively increased prices, was written by the big insurance companies and the Republican Party. The same Republican Party that now that they have the votes, and all those times they repealed it in the House but never the Senate, now that they have the votes and can be put on record, well, now magically the bill has to be pulled. Because the media turned it all into this big distraction that, oh, Trump's credibility's on the line here. So that once he didn't have the votes, they could then have an excuse just to pull the whole thing and keep the scam in place. Because the last 4 or 5 years of Obamacare being implemented incrementally has been a big enough bloodletting for the American people. And the vampires, the big banks, have made so much money off of it, they want to keep this going. And so Trump's killed TPP. He's moving to try to cut taxes on the poor people and middle class. He's trying to get small business loans accelerating. That's why you see the economy expanding in the face of everything the globalists are doing to try to shut it down. But I got to say this again. To the Republican and Democrats out there, both your parties don't like Trump. Both your parties are bought and paid for by the same special interests that have been screwing this country over. And I just can't see how anybody could support Obamacare now that we've seen what it did. And now that we've seen how it was designed to be a screw job and massively increase prices and not let you keep your doctor. We were all lied to. And Democrats bragged that they wrote it to screw you over, and thank God you're stupid. So, I mean, there's some complexity to this, but not that much when it comes down to this. Trump is not to blame for Obamacare. You can say 60-something days in, how come he hasn't repealed it yet? Well, he's trying as much as he can, but he's the executive. It's the Congress where the buck stops with legislation, laws, and funding. So it's up to we, the people, to hold their feet to the fire. But here's the good news. The Democratic Party being obstructionist, it's one thing if the Republicans were obstructionist, blocking Obama's New World Order, globalist, crony capitalist, screwjob agenda. But now that we see attempted obstructionism of actually trying to make our country successful again, the people won't put up with it. The Democrats have lost most of the governorships, 900 House seats, the House, the Senate, they're losing the courts. You've never had, in 50 plus years, one party in as much control as the Republicans are right now. But notice, a large portion of those Republicans are allied with the very same corporations that have bought and sold both parties for a long time. But the good news is we, the people, are on the march, and we're going to continue to take over the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and we will end up restoring this country. Because not just here, but across the world, globalism is in deep, deep trouble. Now, let me ask you the big question here. What happens if they kill Donald Trump? You see all over the news, all over the magazines, all over the newspapers, politicians, Hollywood stars calling for the death of Donald Trump. Stuff before that nobody would accept being done to other presidents, whether it was Obama or Bill Clinton or George W. Bush. But you see that because the establishment does not like Trump because he is a populist and he is going after him and he does stand for what he believes in and he has been delivering on his promises. And so that's why they're so upset. So let me ask you the question. You don't like $3 trillion in the stock market since he got in. You don't like the best small business numbers since 1984. You don't like the fact that true Americana is coming back. Why? And then what are you going to do if they end up killing Trump or killing his agenda? Continue to get looted by the globalist? Zuckerberg says, thank God his users are dumb Fs. Again, Gruber brags on TV, oh, thank God you're so stupid. I don't think you're that stupid. And the good news is most Americans are now awake to what's going on. That's why the media's use race politics and stuff and sex politics to try to divert people off of what's good for them financially onto cultural fights, classical tribalism, and that's how the British Empire, with such a small force, controlled most of the world, was also using different racial and cultural and religious divides for control. So I'm really here trying to show folks how the hat trick works, how the magician is pulling off a scam with the diversions and the distractions. And we're exposing the corporate fake news. That's why they look for anything we're ever wrong about or any retractions we ever do, even though they have retractions every day in major newspapers. They look for the few times I've been wrong, and then I admit I've been wrong, as if, oh God, he admits he's fake news. They're being fake news. We told you the NSA was spying on you. We told you just how it was happening. We told you Trump was being spied on. Now they've had to admit it's happening. We told you that he was going to end up winning the election. We told you that the polls were fake. We've told you about basically every issue out there. And it's because we didn't pull it out of a hat. We researched the globalists and their own plan. And so what you see on CNN and Fox News is two different control arms on the same system that are trying to distract the public and consolidate control. And that's why I stand firmly against it. That's why Infowars.com, in the face of demonization, in the face of all the attacks, thanks to our listeners and viewers, is actually expanding. And that's a good thing, because the real fight for this country, the future of the world, has just begun. But the good news is all over the world, globalism's in trouble. Globalism is just a new type of corporate government that's unelected, that comes in a corporate takeover and takes over your government and then screws you over, tries to make you poor so they can politically control you. And that's their own words. So again, ignore globalism and the facts at your own peril, and decide whether you want to live in a free country and a free world or not, because the battle lines have never been clearer. To all our listeners and supporters, keep spreading the links, because you are the hope, you are the answer to this tyranny, you are the resistance. When you take action, nothing on earth can stop you. I'm Alex Jones from Infowars.com. Be sure and spread the link, Infowars.com/show, because the enemy does not like that link being out there, and they think they can shut it down. If they can shut us down, they can shut anybody down. Think about the last week. Criminal investigation of myself in Infowars with no evidence of supposed ties to Russian intelligence. Total, complete bull. They even accused Rand Paul of being a Russian agent last week, or 2 weeks ago. They accused Nunes of being one for telling the truth about Trump being spied on, head of the House Intelligence Committee. So I'm in very, very good company. I'm very, very honored to be associated with all these other great men and women that know the truth or stand up for what's right. I just feel sorry for people that aren't informed enough or educated enough to know how to, know how to decipher the real news and information. All right, that's it. I'm signing off from Infowars.com/show. Please spread that link. The enemy hates it. My fellow Info Warriors, I am very excited to be able to announce to you the introduction at InfoWarsLife.com of a new way to save time and money when you stock up on InfoWars Life formulations like Survival Shield X2 and Super Male Vitality. Just go to InfoWarsLife.com today, select your favorite product, click on Auto Ship before adding to cart, and choose how often you want us to send you another order. Every time you choose Auto Ship at InfoWarsLife.com, you get 10% off, and you won't have to worry about running out and having to reorder next time. And of course, you can cancel with one click anytime. As you know, I'm all about the idea of a 360 win, and the new auto ship feature at InfoWarsLife.com is a sure win for everybody. A win for liberty, a win for health, and a win when it comes to big savings. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today and save 10% on your next InfoWars Life order by selecting auto ship at checkout. That's InfoWarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139.